Not Quite
Darkness
is a podcast that contains spoilers, opinions, and general. Listener discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, boys and girls, children of all ages, for joining us again for another episode of Not Quite Darkness. My name is Keith Brooks, and with me, as always, is Mr. Chad Dowdy. Chad, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Keith. How you doing?
So good. It's so good. That's incredible. Okay, I'm doing great. If you couldn't tell from Chad's face today, we're here to talk about the dangers of not using sunscreen. No, we're here to talk about the movie Fade to Black. This was my second time watching the movie. Chad, was this your first time watching
Number one. Yep.
And such a fan already. It looks like he's going to...
Maybe. We'll see. We'll get into it.
Well, let's just dive right into it. It's mesmerizing to look at your face. So, as always, sir.
Well, I'll say that, you threw down the gauntlet last time because you said, we're going to watch this and I can't wait to see what you're going to wear.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's not always going to work, by the way.
Yeah. But it worked out amazingly this time. That's
Pretty well. Yeah, it worked out pretty well.
phenomenal. It's just incredible. I can't get over it. I'm giddy looking at that. So Chad, tell me, what is Fade to Black about?
What is Fade to Black about? So this one, I'm going to start off first by saying I really like the premise, and then we're going to get into it as we go.
I
But-
feel the same exact way. I like the premise.
Yeah. So, what we do here too is we go through all the movies on In Search of Darkness. So this is a movie, not only had I never seen it before, never even heard of it before I saw it on the documentary. I don't remember this being on my radar at all. So that being said, we're going to get into the movie. And, it starts off with our main dude, Eric is his name.
He's from It.
He is from the TV show?
Yeah. You never seen It?
Yeah, it's forever ago.
Oh yeah, he's the mama's boy with the glasses and the asthma.
Gotcha.
Eddie, I think.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. But anyway, so that's who it is, the dude from It. And he's watching a movie on the smallest TV possible. I know it's the 80s,
Mhm.
but he's got a projector from what we see.
Yeah.
So, but again, clearly he loves movies. Movies are all over his walls, posters, things like that. And then his mom comes in, but it's not his mom. It's his aunt, apparently.
But
then it's not his aunt. It's his mom, apparently.
But there's
We
also this
might get into
weird
that.
incestuous thing that
It is unbelievable. Yeah, it is super weird. But she comes in and she's just giving him a hard time. She's the worst. She blames him. First of all, she's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So she blames him for being in the wheelchair because he got sick when he was 4 years old and she had to leave a party and go pick him up or something like that and had a wreck.
Yeah.
So since he's been 4 years old, she's probably been this terrible to him because she is terrible.
terrible.
And it gets worse, but just to start out, she's not great. Then in the moment when she's fussing at him and stuff, he comes back to her with like a quote from a movie, and then it cuts to a clip from that movie from back in the day.
Which I kind of like. Like I like that
I
part
like
of it.
that too. I was like,
wish it would have
this is
kept doing
interesting.
that. Yeah, but it doesn't. It does it like twice, and then we're done with that.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, yeah, I like where this is going. If we're gonna see old movie clips and he's acting them out, yeah, I might be on board for that. But that was, like I said, super interesting. And then he goes to work, and he works at a production studio? ?
I think it's just a distribution center where they make the actual reels that they send to theaters.
Gotcha. That makes sense because they might have said it, and I didn't really quite understand. But so he's at work, but he has issues at work. And to be honest, I'm surprised this dude has not been fired. Just based on that one conversation.
Absolutely.
It's like, is that's not what happens, but is he his secret dad? And he's
Yeah.
like keeping him on payroll because that's how terrible. These are just the 2-minute conversation. The dude lost the petty cash and he needs more petty cash. So do you believe anybody that loses petty cash? Like, I'm not saying he probably did.
Yeah.
But people don't lose petty cash. He lost petty cash. He didn't deliver something that he was supposed to deliver, and he was late to work that day. It was like,
It's just
terrible.
and still asks to borrow money. Like at the end of that conversation, it's like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
He should have been fired immediately. Like I said, secret dad, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, with all the crazy stuff that happens in this.
Or maybe it was just easier for boomers back in the day. Maybe work has gotten really difficult now, and that's why they're criticizing it, because they don't know what it's like in the world now.
That's true. They don't understand.
Yep.
And then we cut to the cops talking to a Dr. Moriarty. I mean, wow. They're going hard if that's what you're naming the guy.
And if you don't know this doctor, it's Tim Tomlinson he's Doll Man from the Full Moon movies. He's also in Trancers. He's ridiculous. There's a harmonica solo he has later in the movie.
Yeah. That's the thing too. Like, I don't even understand what he's doing. Not like, I'm not two things. I don't understand what he's doing in this movie. Well, that's one thing, but I don't understand what he's even doing at the police station. What is his role? I don't understand it at all.
Because I think he's supposed to ostensibly be studying the psychology of people, but then later on, when he confronts Eric, he's like, "You fucking lunatic!"
Yeah,
and it's like, "You're the psychologist."
Yeah,
Like,
it's so funny because what he does is he's like, "We can help you, Eric," and then 2 seconds later, "You motherfucker."
it's so intense. And then they're probably the same. I think the deputy he sleeps with is a little bit younger than him. But maybe the mom and Eric qualify as our inappropriate age relationship.
Well, that's it. That's the one I have it. That's the inappropriate one.
Yeah, on a lot of levels. On a lot of levels.
Yes, exactly. This one takes the cake for sure. But we'll get to that scene. Oh my goodness, it was crazy. So again, I don't know what Moriarty's doing there. I don't even know what they're talking about. Whatever, but he's a psychiatrist or whatever you said, psychologist. And then Mickey Rourke, baby.
Yeah.
Mickey Rourke shows up. He works with Eric, and this is some of the weirdest bullying I've ever seen. And like how Eric fends off that bullying is like, "Hey, you guys know any movie trivia?" Like, and they go along with him.
Absolutely.
They're like, "Well, yeah, we don't movie trivia. What are you talking about?" He's like, "I bet you $20." And he gives it. It's the craziest movie trivia I've ever heard. You have 2.5 days to answer.
But I guess this is pre-internet. I guess that's how boomers did it back in the day.
Yeah.
Also, I love he's like, "I bet you didn't know what Hitler watched on the 3rd week of June." Like, the fuck? But still, like, Mickey Rourke is good in this movie. He finds a way to be believable while everybody else is just whatever the fuck they're doing. But Rourke is like sort of grounded in it.
That is true. But you're right, because thinking about it like that from that point of view, the main character is insane. Like whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
The lead actress that we're going to get to, insane. The aunt/mom, insane. Dr. Moriarty, insane. It's like everybody's just insane in this movie. The trivia question, which I did not know, was Rick's full name from Casablanca.
Oh, I don't know either.
They do say it later in the movie when
Yeah.
they have another bullying scene, and he's like, "It's Richard Dalton Castle." Like, I don't know.
No.
That is the moment where it does come back. So Eric leaves. Supposed to be working, but he's not. He's at a diner and he sees these 2 women chatting at the diner, and the look that he is giving these women is some of the creepiest. Like, this guy's a serial killer immediately.
Absolutely.
If you see that in real life, and you're a female especially, this dude is an insane person.
Don't get me
Look at
wrong.
me. Look at me, Keith. He's insane.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. That really brings out your eyes, that makeup. But I do think the Marilyn Monroe chick is incredibly attractive. Like, she's gorgeous. They cast really well for her.
Absolutely.
And I actually really like her character. I like her and Mickey Rourke are the ones that are like, you're kind of believable people. Even though the Marilyn Monroe girl is like, "Oh, crazy person? Yeah, I'll go with him. That'll be fun." And then just like
at every
wanders
turn.
off at every turn. But I kind of believe it. Like I believe her when she's doing it. But it is just poor decision making. The movie. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he sees these girls and they notice that he's staring, and he starts imagining the Marilyn character as Marilyn Monroe singing happy birthday to him.
Yeah.
So that's the fantasy that he's having in his mind, that she's watching him, and his reaction to that is like orgasmic is not the word, because he looks like confused and like worried. Like I don't even know how to explain what he's giving off in that scene, except for the creepiest vibes ever. And her friend's like, yeah, he looks creepy. And she's like, no, like you said, he's kind of cute or whatever. Yeah. Then he talks to her. That's even more creepier.
As Marilyn Monroe. He doesn't talk to her as a random person. He's like, I'm a big fan of your movies. Like, whatever he sounds like.
Exactly. It's like, this girl is insane. I would not want to mess with this girl at all. It's just crazy. But again, they talk, they hit it off, and she just leaves with him on his little Vespa.
Yeah.
They go, I don't even remember what they do. They just have a day of it. And then they set a date for later that night. No, he's just taking her to her job. That's what
so they're just riding on the Vespa. He's giving her trivia as he goes. He's one of those like actually people. The thing that sucks about this movie is while I was watching this movie over the past couple of weeks, I've been working on a movie trivia show for YouTube, right? And so I've been accumulating all these trivia questions, and then I watch this movie and I'm like, I just like, is this me? Like, it was just so uncomfortable. Anyway, go ahead.
That might be you, Keith. I was a little worried when I was watching this.
No.
So, they make a plan to have an actual date later that night. She's totally cool with it, as far as I go. Then we're back to Dr. Moriarty. I have no idea what he's doing again, except for coke and the female cop. That's it. I still don't know what he's got going on.
Are they having sex yet in this? Because when the scene where they have sex, he pulls out snacks from her vagina or something. It's like so weird, such a weird scene.
Yeah, I think so. I think because that's when they're laying in bed watching the news, and it's like, TV's really warping the minds of youth today. Yeah, which is a very early message. Like, again, we know about satanic panic and things like that, but as far as like movies warping, like I don't remember that being like a thing, back in the 80s, but maybe, I guess.
Yeah. I think it came and went in waves, because I think there was like a big thing at the end of the 40s about mob movies and then monster movies in the 50s. I think they were always more targeted. You know what I mean? And then, but if this is 1980, just stick around a couple more years to see how fucked up the movie's going to get,
Yeah, exactly. So, and now we're back to Eric at his home, and this, to what you're referring to, this is the problematic, more than just age issue. So Eric's got his date, and he asks for a loan from his aunt, that we think it's his aunt at the time, asks for a loan. And she says she'll give him the money if after he gets done with the date, he comes back and rubs her back. And she doesn't say it like, oh, rub my back because of my, sciatica. She is like giving him
the eye. Yeah. She's like, rub my back. Like, sort of thing. It's creepy. It's creepy.
It is super creepy. It's super problematic. But it's amazing to me, out of all of these films that we have watched, every one of them has so far had a crazy age gap.
Yep. 1980s, just the year of fucking your elders, I guess. That's what it is.
And again, I'm not going to spoil it yet, Keith, but I already know next time's movie, it's there too.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's just every 80s movie.
Next time we're watching Harold and Maude is our next film.
Exactly. So, super creepy. He goes to his date. He's meeting her at the movie theater, and she is just not there. And it cuts to her. What's so funny about it is it cuts to her, and she's on a date with another guy. She's just out on a date with no mention whatsoever of her other date.
With a guy that she like seemingly does not enjoy being with, like, and looks bored the entire fucking time, but hungry. And Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. Again, the first guy's super creepy. Yeah, I'll go out with you. This guy, she clearly doesn't like him. And yeah, I'll go out with you. And then she's out of date with him. So that she does realize, oh my God, I was had a date with another guy. She just leaves and runs off.
Yeah.
But it's already been too long for Eric. He's been there. And this is such melodramatic shots of both of them because he's super depressed, which again, maybe rightly so.
Yeah.
This guy, he's got a date with a Marilyn Monroe lookalike.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
For him. So I'd probably be acting all that depressed. But she shows up in the cab and he's not there. And you think she's about to faint. Yeah. It's like Scarlett and Gone with the Wind days, the way she's acting. She's so disappointed.
I feel that's the entirety of this movie is like really melodramatic moments where it's like, you need to calm the fuck down. Like that's the entire film.
Especially when the dude starts quoting movies or whatever. And it's just like, he's so separated from reality. It is absolutely crazy what he's doing. But I'm still waiting on the horror to happen in this movie. Like, obviously, I think, okay, this kid's maybe going to go crazy or whatever. That seems like the way we're going.
Like
exactly. Yeah. He's going crazier. So then he heads home to watch his movie, and his aunt comes in and she's super pissed because no back rub. You know, that's got to happen. So she just starts busting up the place. She's knocking over his projector, messing up the stuff. And I can't remember if this was the movie he was watching, but he starts at least imagining an old movie where a lady in a wheelchair just gets pushed down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
So you see clips of that, which again is kind of cool because that's what he's imagining in his head. And then he actually does push her down the stairs, killing her. So, and she's dead. And he stands there and just laughs. And it is like the most realistic laugh I've ever heard in a movie. It's like this dude cannot laugh. He doesn't know how to laugh.
It's so like cartoony and like just not believable. Even on his level of insanity, it just feels so contrived. It's so weird.
Exactly. Because again, I get it. If he's trying to do a character, you know, maybe from a movie, but it's just terrible. Just he's crazy. But so again, he's pushed her down the stairs, and then we get the funeral. I guess it's a funeral, but because they act like there's going to be a funeral later. Maybe I don't know what it is. But anyway, he's there, and everybody's acting like it's an accident that she fell down the stairs. No one knows that he actually did this on purpose. And he takes some of her stuff and he just starts burning it. He's putting out like a cigarette in her ashes. He's just, you know, overall being terrible to her. Now, again, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be acting that way.
Yeah.
Because of what we have kind of gathered from what we've seen so far. So then this was weird to me at first until like it kind of made sense. The mail lady shows up and she's trying to talk to him, but then she realizes it's a different name on the mailbox, that even the street sign.
And he says that his name is Cody Garrett or whatever.
Yeah, Cody Jarrett. Yep.
Cody Jarrett. Yeah.
Yeah, in an accent.
Yeah.
As well.
What is it with the fucking 80s? Whenever they're trying to do a voice, they do 40s gangster voices. Like, what 100%. Is that? Like,
to be fair, if I was doing a gangster voice, that's what I would do too.
Yeah. See?
But you're an expert, so you know, good. She says Cody Jarrett, mail lady leaves, and then you have a scene with him doing this to his face. He's two-facing it up, basically.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's like on a lot of the boxes, that's the cover, is his face like this.
Yeah.
Even though there's some other things behind his face, like other masks that he wears throughout the film. But yeah, again, super weird. And he's dressing up as a vampire. So his whole face ends up turning white, but he dresses up as a vampire and he goes to watch Night of the Living Dead. And public domain movie. Yeah, you're definitely going to show Night of the Living Dead for this guy. Kind of doesn't have a whole lot to do with like his MO, but that's fine. But he's particularly liking the kill scenes, when people are, getting to eat, one of the things I neglected to mention earlier is when he was all depressed, he tried to buy a hooker, but the hooker didn't want anything of him because he didn't have enough money or something like that.
Well, I don't know if it was that he didn't have enough money, because I don't know what hooker rates were in 1980. But
yeah, okay, sure, sure.
But he was, I think he was being too weird for her, because at first he's naive. He's like, "What time's the bus come?" And she's like, "I don't know, I'm working." And he's like, "Oh, where do you work?" And then she's like, "I suck dick for money," or something. And then he's like, "I got $1.50," and then she pulls up. Then a guy pulls up and she gets in the car, but doesn't even talk to the guy she's getting in the car with. She's just still yelling at this fuck. She's and I imagine that guy's like, "Ma'am, it's a red light. Why are you getting in my vehicle?"
Exactly. It had to be a regular,
Had to be. Yeah.
So then we cut back.
That's Rob Prago's cameo in the film. Go ahead.
Exactly. We got back to Marilyn at home, and if you didn't know she was drunk, she trips over her own feet and laughs to herself and says, "Oh, I'm a little drunk," to no one in particular except us as the audience, I assume.
Yeah, which is fine.
Which is fine, but also doesn't have anything to do with what's going on. It doesn't come into play ever again. It's not like she's tipsy and misses something or trips or whatever.
Well, I think it helps her excuse what happens to her in the shower without having red flags. I guess if I had to assume why it was there, because then we see her breast westerns.
So, do you think this movie is smart enough? So they film the shower scene and they watch it and they're like, "You know what? This is not believable that she's going to act this way. What if she's drunk? Let's go back and reshoot it or add a scene where she's drunk." No way, Keith.
No way, because I also don't think. How the fuck does he know where she lives?
Many questions are coming up.
It's
about to get very confusing. Yes, he automatically knows where he lives, and I'll give it a pass. Being the 80s, maybe the door was unlocked, but she gets in the shower and he's in the house. He's lurking around, and I'm going to be honest with you. Again, never seen this movie before. It showed her so many times without showing her boobs that I was like, "Oh, we're not going to see her boobs in this movie." They're just doing the best they can. She didn't want to show her boobs because it showed her so many times before. And
then she turns around.
Yeah. No, I was wrong. There were boobs. Okay. That's just weird editing in that situation. Because I really thought, I was like, because again, we haven't seen anything horror-y. So there's no blood. I mean, I didn't know what this movie was rated. I couldn't remember. I didn't know if it was PG-13 or I guess PG-13 wasn't even a thing back then. But anyway, he's there. He's still in his makeup. And to me, this could have been 1,000 times better, but it was a holy shit moment in the movie because she's taking a shower. He's coming up to her just like Psycho. He grabs the shower curtain, rips it open, and he's holding up a pen, first of all.
Yeah.
And she screams, and the music sounds like Psycho. And the way he's holding the pen looks like Norman Bates. And she just starts screaming. And he says, "I just wanted your autograph." And then he runs off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we see ink going into the shower drain, like Psycho. I like that, except for he just said, I just wanted your autograph. And then he runs off. It was the weirdest thing
ever.
And then we don't see her again for 30 more minutes and not talk to anybody about this. There's no mention of, even if she didn't know who it was, because again, he's made up a little bit. Even if she didn't see him, that is crazy.
Yeah.
The dude was in your house and
but also
basically attacked you almost.
But also this lady's tipsy, and we clearly see she makes poor decisions all the fucking time. So
the entire movie.
Who knows how many times this has happened to her this week? You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's a normal occurrence for her.
Yeah.
Her friend is completely normal, by the way. She, well, I take that back. Up until one moment that we'll get to. But as you know, she's like, "That dude's creepy. You don't need to do that by yourself." She's she's the normal supportive friend.
Yeah.
But so he runs off and he sees the hooker from earlier that we were talking about. And I don't remember if he propositions her again, but he's just being super creepy to her.
Yeah.
And then she runs off and he chases her.
Even though she was getting in her car, she chooses to like open the door, then close the door, and then run. Like, it's, yeah, I guess don't let him know your next move, queen. Like, I guess, I don't know.
Exactly. And this was kind of neat too, where as he's chasing her, we're getting it intercut by shots as Christopher Lee as Dracula in one of his Dracula films, kind of doing the same thing. So I like that too. I like that they were doing stuff like that. So again, he's chasing her. You don't really know what his intentions are, I guess, other than he's just being a creepazoid. And she trips, and you don't see it. It's off screen.
All the violence is, but go ahead.
Yes, exactly. And so she's just laying there, and clearly like something has went through her neck or something, and she's clearly dead. And the dude, because he's dressed up like a vampire, he tastes her blood, and then he actually starts like a vampire would, on her wound. I mean, it's gross and it's effective, but what's weird about it, again, he dressed up like a vampire to watch Night of the Living Dead and then attack somebody and then suck her blood as a vampire. Like, it could have been a little more connectivity to that, because again, he could still be a zombie and want to eat her,
Absolutely. Or just have him watch Nosferatu, because that's public domain. Or just have the shots be, when you're cutting back and forth, cut to Night of the Living Dead as opposed to Christopher Lee. Like, so you're still drawing some, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. And now, did you forget about Mickey Rourke? Because I did. I forgot he was in this movie.
Well, he owes him $40. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's been 2.5 days, and he never answered what it is. So again, he shows up again just to pick on Eric. That's all they're doing. They're just picking on him and his buddy. So Eric's home watching a Western, and the next thing you know, Eric is dressed up like a cowboy, wearing like a fake mask so you can't see his face.
This is the creepiest of the masks he wears. Like, to me, this is the only one that works, because it's very, I don't know, fake looking but fun. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is like, it's almost like Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
The way his face looks, which makes it super creepy. So he actually, says to Mickey, he throws him a gun and let's draw, just like the Old West or whatever. And he actually shoots Mickey and kills him. Again, like you said, 2 scenes, but believable.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's like, I don't understand why Eric just didn't get a career in special effects, because he's really fucking good for a guy who lives in an attic. You know what I mean? Like, he's great at this stuff.
But yeah, and a lot of this is time sensitive because he's home watching the movie at night, the carnival's that night, and he immediately cooks all this stuff up.
Yeah, and somehow pinpoints where they are. Like,
he knows where people are.
Is he
to lure him into a back alley? Unbelievable. Like, honestly, the luck this kid has is amazing in this movie.
It's impressive that he survived that long.
Yeah, it's almost as if someone was writing this story because of the way everything falls into place exactly the way you'd want it to.
But I will say that this scene because this is the first time he's actually, well, I guess he intentionally meant to kill his aunt. He didn't mean to kill the sex worker. He means to kill Mickey. But this is the only one I feel that's actually shot like a horror movie, because there's like fog that he comes out of and all that stuff, and you can see the gunshots even though it goes into weird slow motion. But this is the only one that feels like, oh well, this is kind of creepy, like, and the rest of them are just cartoony, ha ha ha, whatever. But go ahead.
Exactly. And so now that Mickey Rourke said, Dr. Moriarty, he's on it. He might as well be Batman, because he's already figured this out. These 2 cases are linked, and I would just say, how would you think they are linked? Because one person fell, and her, I guess they could tell she was attacked, or at least somebody sucked her blood.
Yeah.
So a dude dressed as a vampire killed the first one, and you don't know what this guy's dressed like, but just somebody gets shot in an alley.
Well, they do know what he's dressed like because there was another guy with Mickey that ran away.
That's right. I forgot. So again, somebody dressed up like as a cowboy shoots him. So how do you link those two cases? Just because someone was dressed up? Because the first night, everyone was dressed up at the Night of the Living Dead thing.
And the second night's a
carnival.
carnival.
No way you would connect these cases.
Absolutely. Or he thinks like, I just wish we had that scene where he's like, the vampires and the cowboys are working together. Like that would have been the greatest moment.
Yeah. That's the thing that, again, I'd like the least in movies, where they're making a leap that we know, but there's no possible way you can know to make this leap. Like,
at all.
You didn't show us anything. You didn't show us a scene where he's checking hair follicles at both, places or whatever.
We literally haven't seen him do any police work or whatever the fuck he's supposed to be doing. He literally played a harmonica solo and went down on that lady and found a bag of Fritos in her pussy. Like, that's the only things we've seen. Like, so.
But he also told the captain that he wanted to do something. The captain's like, "You're not getting 1 inch around my prisoners." So I still don't know why you're here.
No idea.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So next thing is, again, you could tell me if I missed something, but this seems extremely coincidental. He's just on the street hitchhiking, and a Hollywood producer pulls over and picks him up.
Well, he has to give up the Vespa. He gives the Vespa back to his boss because it's apparently his boss's. He quits working there. We find out he's got a lot of insurance money from his aunt, and then he gets picked up. I mean, yeah, that those two steps totally make it less of a coincidence. Totally. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I thought, well, maybe I missed the scene where his boss was talking about some guy. Now, I can actually make the case that this dude is so crazy that he knows this producer's route, and the fact that he knows, like, every Monday he drives from here to here every Monday.
Yeah.
So but again, we don't see any of that. It's not explained. But then also, there's no guarantee that he's going to pick you up as a hitchhiker.
Or actually make the case that this never happened and it's in his head. Like, that would be more interesting to me, but I don't feel we really go there. Like,
no, because that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Joker style or something like that, where everything is coming true so perfectly for him, then it's probably in his head because he's a crazy person.
Yeah.
So when he's in the car with the producer, he tells him about a movie idea, and the producer's like, "That's a great idea. I'm going to get that movie made."
It's the worst fucking idea I've ever heard in my life. There's barely an idea there. He barely has a title, and the title's dumb, and it's just, I hate it so much.
Which, again, leads credence to the fact that this is in his head.
Yeah.
It is crazy. But again, it's not, unless the whole movie's in his head to a degree. So again, then he just goes around the city. I guess they needed to fill time because he's just being a dick to everybody.
Yeah.
He gets into an argument with a dude about the last time Marilyn Monroe walked that street or something. I don't even remember. But well, like, she's dead. No, she's not. She's my girlfriend.
Exactly. Oh, it's so awkward.
Then to your point, he goes back to like his boss or whatever. He gets into an argument with his boss, but he's talking like Cody Jarrett, apparently. Yeah. Like, it's, again, acting. Some people are great. Some people are fine. Some people are not good. And just think about a movie like Split with James McAvoy, where he's acting like different people, and you can almost tell immediately, like when he's somebody else, just by his facial expression, just his movement. And again, that's a high bar, I feel like, of what James McAvoy did numerous, but this guy is just clearly just doing a voice.
And it's always the same voice at all. Like, every single weird character he tries to be, it's always, see? Like, look at me, I'm a Russian, see? Look at me, I'm Fidel Castro, see? Like, it's, what? Like, so.
And it's weird because, again, he's dressing up as these other characters when he's killing people. He's not acting like his alter ego, I guess.
He's gangster character at all.
He gets into an argument, with his boss, and he doesn't have the job anymore. And so now the boss is working late, And
And somebody, I think Mickey Rourke's buddy who ran away tells him earlier that the boss has to have heart surgery because he has a bad ticker.
yes.
And then that establishes, this thing. Yeah.
Another convenience that's about to happen. So the mummy, and I'm sorry, Eric shows up at his boss's place dressed up as a mummy. And you can't tell that it's him at all. But also, I'd say, like you said, good work for
great work
being in your house.
And I know you don't have a car or a Vespa. How the fuck did you get there? And that not smear? You know what I mean? Like,
and did he walk like a monkey the mummy the entire time? Because he definitely was going crazy with it in the production studio or whatever.
And it was shot so boring. Like that whole shot was just like a single wide shot. It felt like that day they're like, oh, we got 30 minutes. Just put the camera here. Let's go. That's it.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, I hate that scene. Go ahead.
So he's just approaching his boss, and he actually kills his boss via heart attack. So again, what a coincidence. Now this one is,
they'll
it
never
cannot
catch
be
me
linked.
now. See?
Yeah, he probably did laugh, as the mummy. So his boss is dead, and then it's like a late night talk show with the producer that he met in the car, and the producer's talking about his next project, and he's talking about the project that Eric told him about.
Alabama and the 40 Thieves or whatever it's called. That's so stupid.
It's like Alabama and the 40 Thieves. It's a movie about like a guy who tries to get something from these people. Oh, it's an amazing story.
Yeah,
I'm stealing that.
It's
oh
like,
my god!
What if they drove cars in the movie? Oh, brilliant!
Exactly. So he tells him, about his idea, and again, after the dude's done with the talk show, he's at the talk show wherever that is, whatever studio he's at, and our buddy Eric goes to a payphone and calls the producer
and gets him. Like, no wonder if this was what life was like in 1980. Oh my God, I can't even get a hold of my water people to pay my bill, much less, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
He goes straight through. There's nobody asking him any questions about why do you need to talk to him. This producer guy doesn't even fucking work here, but he's getting
no, he doesn't even work there. It's awesome. Again, it seems like it's almost crazy in your head or whatever, but then you wouldn't have this would not be the conversation if all your dreams were coming true.
Yeah.
So the producer is acting like he doesn't know who he is. And he's like, I'm the Alabama and the 40 Thieves guy. Don't you remember? And the guy's like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is my movie. It just hangs up on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's again, he got the guy. I'll be talking to this producer. He stole my idea. I got to talk to him. And when he calls him, though, he's even happy because he thought,
our movie,
doesn't even know. Yeah, that his movie's getting made. And he's even told people about it. I can't remember who he told, but
somebody.
I think he told his mom before. Maybe off to her. I don't know.
I think the boss, because I think she was already dead by the time he
yeah.
No, he does tell his mom. He tells his mom her ashes. I think he's talking to her ashes or something.
That's it. Yes, he's looking at her ashes. It's just, again, the movie's crazy, but this whole plot with this producer is just insanity.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous. It's almost like they didn't have enough of a script.
Yeah, we need to add a B plot. Yeah.
They added this producer stuff. That's what they did. Because again, we have now been about 45 minutes without Marilyn, who was sexually assaulted basically in her shower. Now, finally, she's back. But she's just talking about some photo shoot that she has booked with some random guy that she doesn't know.
Yeah.
And that's when it is completely normal in this. Like, yeah, I'll go with you just to make sure everything is cool. People are creeps. You never know. So I do like that idea that we're going to have more help potentially. Like more maybe. Yeah. Cannon fodder, things like that. Oh yeah, he's going to kill her, to get to Maryland. But so That's obviously not what happens. But now, what I don't quite understand is, again, he also knows exactly where the producer is
But
at
doesn't
this
he?
moment.
But doesn't he jack off to Marilyn first? Isn't that before
Yeah,
that?
I wrote that in my notes, and then I was like, nah, I don't need to say that.
No, we'll go ahead and
But
say
go
it
ahead,
because
Keith.
it's uncomfortable. Because the camera's way too close to his ding dong. Secondly, it's way too quick that it happens. I see too much of what his action is. It's just uncomfortable all around. And it's only like for 15 seconds. And he's saying weird shit like, look what you made me do, which is so uncomfortable to hear when
It was gross.
it was gross. I don't understand how any man gets laid because of things we say during sex. But yeah, but then he magically knows where the producer is, has bought a 1920s car and a Tommy gun somewhere.
Exactly. You're right. He didn't have a Vespa in his name. He had no money. Well, I guess he got the money. He had to buy it somehow.
Yeah. I guess the insurance paid out pretty nice, but
And quickly too, because I feel like she died like 2 days ago.
super quick. Yeah. Like super
Like
quick.
there's a process to buying an old gangster's car, I feel like. And
Yeah.
and it just seems like it's not like he ordered that a week ago. He just now decided to kill the producer after he got off the phone with him.
Got that shit quick, man. That's
But he knows where the producer's haircut at that time. The producer is getting his haircut, and the dude just comes in and he just blows away the producer.
and it's his birthday.
Everybody else
too.
runs away.
Yeah.
The producer's birthday?
Yeah, because they sing happy birthday to him and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Which it would have been great to cut to like really quickly Marilyn Monroe singing just for a second there, to sort of like bring it in together. But
Yeah.
but fuck continuity, I guess.
No. In this movie, it's crazy. Because now, guess what? Apparently, all the police know that Eric is the killer. I don't like all the killers. A dude, there were plenty of witnesses that saw him with a Tommy gun, gangster. But again, that's a gangster showing up.
Face
Is
paint.
that how they automatically know?
Yeah.
That, oh, he's been doing it all.
Yeah. Also, it seems like a really big leap to like, oh, there's a literally black and white gangster there. It's got to be Eric. We know Eric, like,
Right.
especially
Yeah,
in
nobody
Los
even knows who he is.
Angeles. Like, it's
The cops even say this when they're on to him. They literally mention the mummy outfit. How the hell does anyone know that he was also responsible for this heart attack wearing a mummy costume?
no. Also, remember that time he jacked off to Marilyn Monroe all weird? Like, how do you know that? Like, it's,
Dr. Moriarty knows, I tell you.
yeah.
So now they go to the photo shoot, and it's definitely something Eric has set up, because I think maybe the producer's name is Cody, or the photographer's name is Cody Jarrett.
Yeah.
So we know it's Eric. We know that's where she's going. And her friends show up, and they go in. They don't see anybody there. The place is decorated nice, and the friend goes, "Oh, it looks kind of nice in here. You're good. No
I'm
problem."
out.
And she
Yeah.
just leaves. She's like, "Oh yeah, this guy can't be a creep. He has pictures on the wall."
Yeah, clearly. Creeps never have pictures on the wall, ever.
And so she goes in and she sees him, and she does not recognize him apparently, because she's even like asking who he is, and he's acting like
Oh, he has
He's
an
like some-
accent. Prince of Wallachia
Yes.
is what he says, which is Dracula, which is it's weird.
again Dracula stuff again, but he's not dressed up like Dracula this time. But again, like that, say don't say Dracula wore that outfit. I just mean like his face is what I meant to say.
Yeah, yeah.
He's not,
But it's also the thing, and this is the nerd in me. When he's dressed like Dracula earlier and they're cutting to the Christopher Lee Dracula, he's not dressed like Christopher Lee's Dracula. He's dressed like Bela Lugosi's Dracula because he has the amulet. But that's just fuck. I'm Eric. God damn it. Go ahead.
yeah. So what movie did Hitler watch on the third week of June?
Broadway. What was it? Broadway Fuck, it was something Broadway, the Broadway Lullaby or something like that. It's his favorite movie.
I don't know anything about Hitler except the bad stuff, Keith. So
Oh, gotcha.
I don't know why you're trying to humanize him. Anyway, but so again, I don't know how, but the cops know where Eric is. Like, I guess maybe they discovered that he leased out this, building again in record amount of time, set it up as a
set it up
photographer
quickly too. Like, that's a lot of stuff to get when you can't order shit on Amazon. How are you?
This is
finding
pre-Amazon. This is pre 2 hours delivery guaranteed.
This is when Amazon was still a jungle, like in a river. This is not.
It's unbelievable. But suddenly the cops know where he is. And when I say the cops, Moriarty and his cop girl, they show up first and they confront Eric. And Eric, even though he's Dracula, he has a gun. Okay.
And cyanide pills or something.
Yes. No idea what he gave her because he gives Marilyn something to drug her.
And he takes it too, but cyanide pills would act really quick, so he'd already be dead. But I always assumed it was something to kill both of them, but I don't know what, like, or to keep them high. I don't, but he seems like, because it can't be like a mint. He's like, oh, they're here. Fuck, take this. And it's like, is it an Altoid? Is her breath really bad? Did she have too much Vegemite? I don't know. Anyway.
So they show up. Moriarty's trying to calm him down, and Eric shoots Moriarty. And this is what you were saying earlier, because Eric's on the ground. No, Moriarty's on the ground on his knees, and he's trying to reach him because his whole deal is, he's just, he's challenged. Something's wrong with him in his head.
Yeah.
And, I'm trying to reach these people. So he's laying there, and he's like, we can help you, Eric. And he's got his hand up. And he doesn't even wait 2 seconds. Eric does not move. Nothing happens. But he goes, we can help you, Eric. You're out of your fucking mind. What? What in the world?
Yeah.
So quick. It was almost like he was trying to help, and then the pain finally reached him from his shot 2 minutes ago in his leg. And he's like, oh shit, that hurt. You're a fucking animal. He literally just had a conversation about trying to reach him. I thought that, man, I had to pause it because I was just laughing so hard because I was like, is that really what they just did? It's unbelievable. So he runs off. Eric runs off with Marilyn Monroe. They run down the street and the dude's shot, but they get in the car and they're going after him. And they end up at Grauman's Chinese Theater. Is that? Mm-hmm. Was it even called that back then in 1980?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's where they are. There's a lot of people there. And Moriarty, even though that he's been shot, he's still 1,000 times faster than a girl cop because they pull up, he gets out of the car and he's stumbling. And it's like maybe a minute and a half of all this. And then finally the lady cop gets out and runs. I don't even know what she was doing. It's ridiculous. So then now we're on the rooftop of the theater. And Eric is up there with Marilyn. They're trying to, I guess, yell and talk him down. I don't even remember. But he gets shot by a sniper. He's holding a gun up there, brandishing a gun. He gets shot by this guy, and he falls down. He kisses Marilyn.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets back up, and he gets shot about 10 times.
Well, he locks Marilyn in the little fire escape thing. But those doors don't lock from the outside. They only lock from the inside. But that's fine. We'll skip over that point.
And she's messed up. She doesn't know how to use doors right now.
Plus, anyway. Like, you could literally hear her go, "Oh, don't do anything." And then he closes the door and she's like, "Wait a minute." And that's it. Like, weird. But then he starts reciting from the Cody Jarrett movie, White Heat. And getting shot in the most melodramatic bullshit scene I've ever seen. But life was just beginning.
That's the end of the movie, and it was not good. I just did not do it for me. I mean, I had more fun talking about it, quite frankly, than
Yeah, I think it's a great concept.
great concept.
But it's also like, I feel like it is trying to tell you that movies will poison your mind, and I think that's bullshit.
Right.
It is one of those, like, I think about It's Alive, which was an anti-birth control movie, right? That said, if you take birth control, you will still have a baby, but it will be deformed. This like feels like it's in that category. And it's just not the execution is poor. I think there's some good parts to it. I think there's a great idea behind it. I think Mickey Rourke is good. I think Marilyn Monroe is good. Moriarty is not. Eric has some moments and he's creepy, but it's just not. I think if you would have given this to a filmmaker who understands the genre, you could have had something there. But as it is, this is like the first one we've run into that I'm like, this probably shouldn't be on the list. Like, it's.
Yeah, and even when I rewatched the segment from In Search of Darkness on this, and at least so far that I can remember, this is the shortest segment they ever had. Like, I would be surprised if it even lasted a minute, them talking about this film. It was not long at all. They might have had one or two talking heads talking about it. And I can't remember what they really said about it. It wasn't like anything,
glowing.
Hey, Keith, did you know? Yeah. So, but I mean, I don't think it should be on the list either. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Oh, let me see what I did.
I get that. Again, when you're talking about horror movies, I get the idea that horror movies might make you crazy and do these things again. So I can understand maybe why they might want to put it on the list, but certainly the idea is 1,000 times better than any type of execution.
Absolutely. I agree. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, ladies and gentlemen, for Keith Brooks to give a movie 2 out of 5 stars, it's not going to be great because 90% of his movies are 5 stars.
Yeah.
That's the absolute truth.
And again, I think the concept is really great. I just think it's poor fumbling of it. Like, and though the concept is good, I think the intentions behind making the movie were kind of negative, and thus you get a negative result. But if I were going to remake it, I would implicate that cutting back to the shots, and I would just do it more. So when they're running, it's frantically cutting back and forth between, and we're matching shot for shot from like famous chase scenes and shit like that. But my cast would be Evan Peters as the main guy, as Eric.
I see that.
Megan Fox as Marilyn Monroe, and John David Washington as Moriarty, but give him like an actual. He still has to do the harmonica solo, but give him something else in there too.
Yeah, I was thinking about remaking this movie. Can it be remade today? Because of again, what it's saying is the message of this movie is that watching horror movies or just movies in general will give you ideas, make you a psychopath, basically. So that's not now in our day and age. That is not new ground to cover.
No,
it might have been newish back then, but it's certainly not now. And it just depends on how it's handled. Obviously, if they did it now, it would not be because of that. Somebody might be saying it's because of that, but they're the crazy person, not Eric in this case. So it's a little bit difficult in that regard to pull it off because I mean, again, he is crazy, and the whole premise is he's reenacting the movies. That's what he's doing.
Well, it's
at
also
the end of the day.
Yeah, he's disassociated from his actual life and is living in this fantasy realm. So, like, if I were making it today, I would be feeding into that. What is he actually experiencing and what is he not? These parasocial relationships that he construes with these celebrities, I would still make it a 1980s timepiece because I think there is something about living in that era before the internet, before all movies were at your disposal. But
Right.
that idea of, Los Angeles is a town where we have exalted the fake. And I don't mean that as a slight on people, but it is built on fiction, And so to pry into how that relates to us and how it can be damaging to our psyche, the same way that I think there's a parasocial negativity to like Facebook and seeing people only posting their highlights of their life. I think you can delve into that. And what is it? Why does Eric want to disassociate? Like from this terrible relationship he had with his mother aunt.
Right.
So I don't know, but go ahead. Sorry.
As far as casting goes, I would cast Tom Holland as the
Ooh.
Eric character. And I got two different ways with the Marilyn Monroe part. I would my first choice actually would be to cast an unknown that looks like a Jennifer Lawrence or something like that, like today's movie stars. Because I wasn't thinking of setting in the 80s as far as that goes, but making it be a lookalike to Jennifer Lawrence or something like that. But if I'm not going with an unknown, then it was Emma Mackey. She's from Death on the Nile, because she looks to me so much like Margot Robbie that it would then be Margot Robbie that would be like his obsession.
Yeah.
And it's her that looks a lot like Margot Robbie. That's kind of how I would do the recasting. This was kind of tough though, because again, the subject matter, so.
Yeah. It also, like, I don't know if you've seen Fred Durst's movie, The Fanatic. It's terrible, with John Travolta. It has like a similar tone to that, though I like this better than The Fanatic, because The Fanatic's a piece of shit. This is like shitty, but not as much of a piece of shit as this.
Right.
This still has
it's not terrible. I wouldn't say it's a terrible movie.
No.
But like you said, it's not worth being on this list for sure.
No.
And it's fine. All the violence happens off screen, like you said, except for the few times people get shot. But yeah. Anyway, that's it.
Yep, that's it. So that's the movie we watched this week. What are we watching next time?
So unless something changes with streaming, our next movie is Motel Hell.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen Motel Hell. This will be the first for me.
Well, okay, this will be your first. Be on the lookout for the problematic age difference, because it will be very obvious.
Okay, I'm excited. Okay, cool. So then we'll watch Motel Hell next. Thank you guys for watching us fade to black and our weird coverage of this fucked up movie that we watched. Chad, where could the people out there find you?
On Twitter and Instagram, NQC Podcast.
Awesome. And if you want to find me, you could find me in the not quite darkness. Michael
Peace.
Kide.